any long-term lasting systems give the opportunity for immense mineralization.
The drill program that we're looking at right now is going to take a really systematic approach of focusing in on the most critical data that we need for unlocking what's the driving force behind the mineralization here.
All right, welcome back. Episode 3, Season 2, Treasure Hunters, KLDC. We have some new faces here today. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but we have Ben Cleland, who's joining us as our VP Exploration, Denis Laviolette, our Executive Chairman, and Ryan Lunny, Head of Corporate Development. So we have a lot of new faces that are going to be part of this story going forward. But realistically, we're here and we're excited to be talking about drilling. And that's what we're going to get into. So I'm going to let Mike, Drake, and the boys work our way through this. So Mike, take it away.
Yes, thanks, Steph. We got to get on it. Drill is showing up Wednesday, so I got to get my butt up there and get this going. So we have what our sort of our plan is to get one drill going again. We're not going to go right directly back to Winnie proper. We've got to get that packed down and frozen so we can get in there in the wintertime without sinking everything. So we're going to hit some very interesting targets. Our first target is going to be following up on hole 32 to the northeast of Winnie, where we hit 5 meters of 1.48 gold, 2.14 grams per ton silver. We had some tellurium in there, 2.5 ppm tellurium, and we had some moly and bismuth associated within a quartz vein system. So we are going to follow that up with 3 holes, trying to extend that along strike and bring the dip up closer to the surface and see what we can see there. So we have three holes planned to follow up in this, and depending on what we see, this thing. Drill programs change on the fly all the time. So I mean, this is our proposed plan. I can see things changing after the first hole because everything's going to look so good.
Any plans to drill that sort of structure to the north of that, or potential structure to the north of that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we have a new drill permit coming in. It's going to cover a lot more of this area. We are sort of restricted right now to our current drill permit. And where we can drill, so we're picking out the best targets within our current drill permit, but that's going to be greatly expanded in this current one that we're pending approval. So after those 3 holes and following that up, we have a target southwest of those 3 holes. We're going to drill this mag break. That magnetic high that you see there, and that sort of oval shape, that is gabbro, and we were expecting to start in gabbro with hole 32 back in the summer, but we didn't. We were in syenite, magnetic syenite, and as you can see, it's a magnetic low because it's all blue, but surprise, we hit syenite. So we are going to go to the southwest about 500 meters and stick a hole at the end of the gabbro. We're getting in the lower mag, so we're going to test that contact again of Mayfet Volcanics and syenite.
I mean, one can't help but notice, like when you look at the mag, you can sort of see lineaments cutting across and sort of plinkoing through some of those gold showings that we have. So we got a bunch of unanswered questions here. We've got syenite, mineralized syenite. Looks like we have structure in the vicinity. We have a heat source, possible metal source with the intrusion itself, which is interesting. And then you've got these syenite plugs. But we have all the ingredients that we need. It's just about figuring out where these little traps are for these fluids.
So looking, at Winnie proper, most of Winnie right now is still, like we said, we needs to freeze over a little bit. But one of the holes that we can get into is testing that incredible bismuth grab that we end up getting.
Yeah, and this is one where the historic mapping, you have mafic volcanics to the north, and then within the actual syenite body, you have a raft of mafic volcanics. But more likely than not, you could see through the mag low here that the mafic volcanics probably connect, which extends the strike length and volume of the contact between the mafics and the cyanide itself, which is what is mineralized at Winnie. So we are excited about this hole because it has the ingredients for a magmatic system, but it also has those potential for mineralization along the contact of the actual cyanide itself.
All the drilling was at Winnie proper, along the east side of the mafic volcanic cyanide contact. We're going to pop over to the west side here. We see some magnetic low, sort of in a southwest orientation, and just over there in that little mag high blip, we sampled sampled a quartz vein there with that extraordinary bismuth. Had some silver and copper in it. So we want to hit the cyanite and then travel through the cyanite. So I think we think the mafic volcanics are sort of curling around the nose of that whole cyanite stock. So we want to hit the contact on the other side and see what's in that mag low along the edge of a high bismuth quartz vein in the cyanite. So we're pretty excited about that hole. We kind of like this one. Oh, we like
that little bullseye to the southwest looks super interesting too.
That is mapped as mafic volcanic, so that's why we sort of think that maybe it's mapped as it's curling around there. So
yeah, so if we zoom out here, we can actually see that we have these magnetic features to the south. So one of the things that we're trying to do with this drill program as well is really defining the geometry of the syenite versus mafic volcanics versus the actual Winnie Pluton itself, because it's not so obvious from the mapping due to the cover. So we're piecing it all together, and as we get the definition of the geometry of these shapes, we're going to be able to have more refined targets. So as you can see down to the south here, this is likely all syenite through here, and then to the east in this mag low, it's likely mafic volcanics. Again, we won't know that till we drill it because of the overburden, but there's a lot of testing through here, and each drill hole is going to give us multiple data sets that we can work with to make this story come together.
I think what's fascinating about this right now is I'm getting my first look at a lot of this data that's coming in, and I've spent a lot of my career in the Abitibi regions, greenstone belts, but we've got an opportunity here with that, as you said, Steph, the multitude of layers of geophysics and starting to hone in on some of the structures. I think the drill program that we're looking at right now is going to take a really systematic approach of focusing in on the most critical data that we need for unlocking what's the driving force behind the mineralization here. So we know we've got the cyanites with the potential heat source. We've got the geochemical signature of these intrusive related systems. We know that we sit in a prolific area of structural geology and structural gold deposits as well. And what we're looking at here is the potential overlapping of those systems. Again, we're looking at this as often as an intrusive related system. So you're looking at those big granitic bodies, the cyanites and things like that. But often we don't want to necessarily put the horse blinders on and think of this as a single style of mineralization. These rocks have seen a lot of different pressures and forces over billions of years, and so you can get overprinting, and we as geologists need to remember to not necessarily think of this as just one typical type of model. Let's think of this as potentially multiple models or multiple deposition or deposit styles interacting with each other. So what kind of came to my mind when I was looking at this is that geophysics is fantastic for giving us an idea of what the structures are on a regional scale. And so again, we don't get the really fine outcrop detail from these types of geophysics, but we can kind of cross-reference between what we see on the outcrops and what we see in the geophysics. And so I see these lines that are kind of cutting through potentially all the way across the Winnie stock itself, and you kind of trace these breaks in the mag highs. That's usually the best place to look for those major structures, is where you see those. And we see that we kind of have this linkage between here. Again, these are all sort of starting hypotheses and understanding the orientation of the geology, but you can see a couple of these little breaks cutting through in through these areas, and you've got these gold showings happening at the same place. And as looking at structures and geology, there are some typical rules that you sort of want to follow on how rocks will behave in different conditions. And so you don't tend to see certain types of faults or certain types of breaks. And sometimes when you have one style of break, you get these cross-cutting features that'll often come across as well. And those can be quite interesting for traps within gold systems. So we've got these gold showings that are along these potential breaks in areas like this. Again, these just become concepts for targeting. How can we start putting together the story of what was driving the mineralization in an area like this?
Yeah, like we got really excited about, then thanks, Ben. We got really excited about, a lot of the intrusion related / VMS potential of the area, but it's sometimes you forget, like you're sitting in orogenic gold heaven, and when you've got orogenic gold, you should care about the cracks and how the rocks are cracking, and you've got all these fluids scouring metal out of the rock, and so even if you do have VMS deposits, and they're like a bonus to orogenic gold systems. I mean, either just more metal getting brought into the system and able to be scoured into some of these little things. So the key here is we have all the ingredients. We know we have the ingredients. It's just about finding the little traps, the little nooks and crannies where these fluids are going to accumulate. And that could come in the form of the right kind of rock. Like maybe it's a syenite. They make, as Mike said, very good receptacles for mineralization. I think, Mike, you talked about that in prior videos. They make great host rocks. And so that's, sometimes it's a chemical contrast thing. Sometimes it's a rheological contrast thing. You get little traps that form. And so the key here is going to be able to, us trying to suss out and deductively reason through all these data and all these different feature types of targets and see if we can, deduce what really matters most, and then just go after that.
You got to remember the scale here on this map that Ben was drawing his thing on. I mean, that's you're looking at 20 kilometers across there. So,
yeah, these are big systems. This is a big
system.
claim package, and it has the
Big
potential for holding
explore.
quite a few interesting showings. And yeah, like you said, Denny, like there's the combination, these hybrid type mineralization systems. This is what we need to be constantly looking for. Nothing looks like the textbook in real life, but what's amazing about it is that sometimes it's a combination of two amazing mineralization systems.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's the thing that I was most excited about this program is there's a lot of questions that are going to get answered. So the whole floor that we have planned just to the southwest of the gold hit that we had, that's gonna show us, okay, so what does that contact look like? Does that cyanite continue across there? What are these mag values? How does that correlate with the MT survey and the information that we get from there? So it's answering so many different pieces that then you can apply that to a lot of the other areas around that egg. Like how much is structure playing into this, or is it more this pervasive contact? So yeah, I'm really excited. And the one we haven't talked about is as to the northwest. This is an area that we had high on our list. There's some from the soils. There was a lot of gold in this area. There was a lot of intrusion related mineralization that we had. That area was very high on our list originally, and then it was just a matter of meterage and logistics to get up there. But this is right on the logging road, so I figured we'll take advantage of this time as well to go across that magnetic anomaly and soil anomaly and see what we're dealing with. But yeah, anything to add with that, Mike Drake?
Yeah, so Mike already spotted that whole PLN 2506, so the pad's already kind of set up for us over there. And one of the nice things about that hole is we're actually starting in the Winnie Pluton itself and then going out of it towards the west. So we'll actually get our first glimpse of the contact between the Winnie Pluton and surrounding host rock for the first time, which is going to be exciting. So we could start kind of shaping that geometry and getting a better handle on things.
Very, very exciting. Lots of questions being answered with this drill program. Can't wait to get to site with everybody. So many developments. There's been so much going on. So let's I think we can wrap it up there, and realistically I know I said last time that there was going to be a drill on site. By the time you see this video, it actually will be. But next time we'll actually be at site, seeing core coming out of the ground. So can't wait. We'll talk to you then.